Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, baby Huey and BrianTronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner, BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
It's going good, Huey. I wasn't gone for too long this time.
I know. Yes. No, of course. I miss you as always. Glad to have you back. Thank you to Phil for making kind of the last minute save last episode of In The Kliq. But yes, I see you rocking your WrestleMania 39 t-shirt.
That's right.
I was there when you bought that.
This is like my weekly t-shirt, man. It's nice and comfortable. It reminds me of being at SoFi, the electricity. Right. Just the feel of that whole weekend. But it's just a really comfortable shirt.
It is. It really is a comfortable shirt. I agree with you 100% on that. And I haven't worn it that much, though, just because I'm afraid to kind of wear it down.
See, no, this has been my trial. I've worn it a bunch since I got it, just because I've wanted to wash it, just because I want to see, okay, how many times can I wear and wash this thing to see how long it starts to wear? Because last year's, I wish I had it handy. Okay. Last year, wrestled in Dallas. Yeah. Oh man, that shirt is shredded. You can't even see what the front looks like anymore.
Really? Which one did you get last year in Dallas?
It was the program one. It was the I was there one.
Yeah. But it had all those faces on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have that one too. I actually haven't worn it that much either, so mine's still pretty much intact.
Yeah, that one it's bad.
Oh no.
It's bad.
Well, that reminds me of a shirt I got off Pro Wrestling Tees. Mm-hmm. Some shirts have been great lasting. A couple of them have really flaked up really soon or early. My Eddie Guerrero shirt, and it has a large white pattern on the shirt. Mm-hmm. The white cracks and it was breaking up already. So and that was after a couple washes. I was like, oh man,
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. So so that was one of my shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees I got. It just depends on the shirt and design and how it lays out on the t-shirt itself. But yeah, not here yet. But no, just seeing that, man, it feels like yesterday. I don't know, we were just in LA, but now it's coming up on 6 weeks ago now, 7 weeks ago. So
it's been such a short period of time. I just thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. It's only been almost 2 months?
Yeah. Coming up on
not even 2 months yet. So it feels like it's been so long.
Well, I think partly because if you think about it, WWE is on their second post WrestleMania Premium Live event. So WWE's already moved on. They've now we had Backlash 3 weeks ago. We're going to have Night of Champions this weekend, which, by the way, this episode of In The Kliq, it's going to be our predictions episode for Night of Champions this Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I know on Raw, they really beat it to the ground that it's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern this Saturday on Peacock. So, but yeah, 10 a.m. for us, which I love. I love getting up on a Saturday morning and have pro wrestling live. I'm excited for that.
You want to know what's weird about that, though? Is what's so weird about that is seeing all the wrestlers post at 6 o'clock in the morning, the wave of pictures and videos and content that the wrestlers and WWE themselves put out on the days of a Saudi show, because here on the West Coast in the US it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they're getting ready for a pay-per-view. And I'm opening my eyes. I'm like, oh man, what's going on?
I know, for me, I'm getting up to use the restroom and or take a leak, and I see all these photos and videos. Man, I'm going back to bed. I still got a couple hours I want to sleep in.
Exactly.
So I'll finish checking all this out later. But so this is gonna be our predictions episode. We're gonna go over the 7 matches for Night of Champions. Give our thoughts, who we think is going to win, what could happen from a booking standpoint, and even we'll touch on some of the highlights from the go home episodes of Monday Night Raw this past week. And I know we're recording this on a Wednesday. So technically this Friday will be the go home episode of Friday Night SmackDown. But actually they pre-recorded it last week since they're traveling to Saudi Arabia this week. So Brian, have you looked at the spoilers for SmackDown this week yet? I have not. That's why I'm asking. I have not. Yeah.
I seen one, like, I think Saturday, like this past weekend, but then I think I already forgot it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I used to love looking at those for, like, you know, the double tapings but I find more joy in watching SmackDown when I don't know what's going to happen.
I think the big takeaway, well, from what I've heard, just some people saying without spoiling, they said like nothing major really happened on SmackDown, what's going to air this week, which kind of makes sense because Triple H, under his time head of creative, his go home shows, he doesn't really like telegraph too much what's going to happen. I know for years there was go home math of like, oh, whoever stood tall at the end of the episode most likely is going to lose that weekend, or if you touch the title that you're going after, it's a curse, like, or it's a bad sign that, or if you hold up the title that you're going after on the go home episode, you're not winning that weekend. So
exactly
all these little things. So yeah, Triple H has been pretty good not revealing his hand one way or the other from a booking standpoint. So from what people were kind of saying, not much happened on SmackDown. I think the big thing was Austin Theory versus Sheamus for the U.S. title, because he's the only title not being defended, and the women's tag titles, which we'll get into in a second. But those two sets of titles are not being defended at Night of Champions. But then again, WWE has so many titles. They already got 7 matches lined up already, so it's already a full card.
I know that they've already gotten rid of the normal Night of Champions tradition, right? We're so used to every championship being on the line. You know, this whole entire time, and before you said that just now, I didn't even think about it. Like I forget, like, wow, okay, this is supposed to be Night of Champions. They put so much emphasis on the World Heavyweight title and, you know, Roman Reigns. And, you know, rightfully so, Roman Reigns has just been the talk, like what he's going to be doing, you know, at Night of Champions for his 1,000-day, you know, title reign. I just didn't even think about, you know, there's no U.S. title and there's no women's tag team championship, right?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Strange.
So, yeah, which I guess kind of it's a little unfortunate that not every single championship will be defended at Night of Champions, hence the name of the pay-per-view, premium live event. But it kind of makes sense maybe, well, from the women's tag titles, which we'll get into in a second, why that's not going to happen. Some real life issues happen, injuries. And if the U.S. title, I'm not quite sure. Maybe they figure they want something big to happen on the go home episode of SmackDown. So maybe having the U.S. title defended there could be the big takeaway or the big tune in factor. But then again, that's Austin Theory defending. And that's a whole nother issue people have been discussing of his title reign and just him as a character right now. But sorry, what were you going to say? Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and I'm glad that it's not being defended, because if it doesn't have a story right now, I'd rather it just stay off the card than just have something be thrown together. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it later with Rhea Ripley and Natalya. I know that they tried to create something there, but that's just random as random it can be.
Yeah. The 7 matches for this card, it's a mixture of some that had really good stories and some that kind of thrown together. Some, it's kind of obvious who's going to win and who's going to lose. And now there's a little bit of a mystery. So which is cool. I kind of like that element of surprise. But it's interesting to see that the U.S. title not being defended based on what you just said. It's like they haven't had much build to it, so there's not a lot of story there. But then again, you can make that argument, well, some of the other matches that are being featured don't have much build as well. But like Austin Theory and Sheamus just confronted each other last week on SmackDown, so I guess they figured, let's just save that for the following week, which is fine. And, you know, we could talk about that on a following episode of In The Kliq.
Actually, it just came to my mind. That's exactly what I accidentally spoiled for myself.
Oh, the results on that?
The results for Sheamus and Theory is what I got spoiled. It just came to me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. You can tell me off air, because honestly, I can't. I'm not going to be able to watch SmackDown live this week just because I'll be up at Bottle Rock up in Napa, the big music festival, watching Smashing Pumpkins headline night one. Oh, and Post Malone is performing as well. Wow. But yeah, Smashing Pumpkins featuring the current owner of the NWA, Mr. Billy Corgan. I should have got an NWA shirt and wear it there. Billy, look at me. Even though I don't really watch NWA much anymore, but yeah. Wrestling buddy.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
I should get my photo. I think I'm showing you my photo of Billy Corgan and I. We talked wrestling. He performed at my station was it 9 years ago? And at that time, he was like dipping his toes in pro wrestling. He was like kind of doing some work with TNA, and but he had to fall out with them at that point. So I was asking about that in the hallway with him, and his eyes lit up. Like, I wasn't asking about music or anything. I was just asking about pro wrestling. And I think he was just excited just to talk something else other than music. Wow. He loved pro wrestling. So him and I were geeky on the hallway talking about stuff. And he was telling me about the Chicago, I think, indie scene at the time. And he was telling me a little bit of TNA. You know, he wasn't like trashing anyone or anything, but he was just kind of saying, yeah, I'm no longer working with TNA and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay. And then we were talking about some other stuff, wrestling in Chicago and a couple other things. But that was fun. So have that cool, intimate, one-on-one private conversation with Billy Corgan in the hallway, just talking pro wrestling. It was awesome. And the photo we got together, he has a big old smile. And I was like, all right, I lightened him up just talking pro wrestling. So no way to Billy Corgan's heart, and that is through pro wrestling. So, all right. So yes, we'll talk about the matches, but let's get through a couple news items from this week. Some big stuff happened. I just want to touch on, because by the time maybe we get to it again on a future episode, it might be really old news at that point. So First things first, sad news from the world of pro wrestling. Superstar Billy Graham passed away last week at the age of 79 years old. I know he's been having some bad health issues the last few years, and I think finally his organs were shutting down and they took him off life support, and he sadly passed away at his home in Phoenix, Arizona. And he's survived by his wife, Valerie, and a couple kids, his 2 children. So, yeah, man. I know Billy Graham was way before our time, Brian. Yeah. I know he was really big wrestling wise in the 70s. And then he kind of transitioned to a manager in the late 80s, I believe, and doing some other stuff. But nonetheless, his influence is very much impactful to this day. So yeah, just kind of get your thoughts on the passing of superstar Billy Graham.
It was sudden, you know. I mean, it's, you know, it's one of those things where you're looking on Twitter, scrolling through Instagram, and you see, and it's just like, whoa, like that's super sad, you know. Like it just caught me by surprise, but definitely gonna be missed, definitely influential, and yeah, man, it's just crazy.
Yeah, you look at his old photos of him when he was in the WWF working under Vince Sr. His look, the big bodybuilder look, the blonde hair. He definitely, you can see the influence that he had on Hulk Hogan, Jesse the Body Ventura. His style of promos, just very charismatic, over the top, which so many wrestlers tap into that to this day. Just a big over the top gimmick and loud personality. He was great on the microphone. And I think probably his biggest achievement was in the 70s. He defeated Bruno Sammartino during Sammartino's second longest title reign. So he won it off him, big heel title win for himself. I think he had it for about a year or so, and then he lost it to Bob Backlund. And I seen like a lot of people talking about that the last few days, how he did not want to give up the title so soon. He wanted to hold on to the belt longer, just because traditionally WWF at the time was like a real babyface territory. So the babyfaces had long title reigns, the heels always had short reigns. But for him, he was still, I think, drawing big crowds. They were making a lot of money. So he was like, we're hot right now. I mean, I shouldn't drop this right now. Let's keep this going. But Vince Sr. was very disciplined. He's like, no, I promised Bob Backlund a title win. And he knew the exact date, I believe, he was going to drop it. He's like, you're going to drop it here to Bob Backlund, and Bob Backlund had that a big title reign himself. So, and then some other people reports I was reading, I guess after he lost it, he got really depressed just because he didn't want to lose the title. He knew he was making money. He was popular. And then even my brother was telling me, I guess he was starting to get over with the crowd. He was starting to become a baby face. So he just felt it was the wrong time to drop that title. And he disappeared for a while off the face of the earth for after that. He lost and he was depressed and stuff. So it was very unfortunate. But he reemerged in the 80s. He had the shaved head, bald cut, the facial hair. And then I believe he was managing, remember in WWF, he was managing, oh my God, what's his name? Don Morocco. That's right. Yeah, he was managing Don Morocco. He also had like a martial art gimmick, I think, for a while. So, as you know, superstar Billy Graham, so influential. I think even Vince Jr. told him like he didn't agree with his father taking the title off him so quickly. But also, keep in mind, his name, Superstar Billy Graham. What did WWE adopted the name for all their wrestlers? Superstars. So
exactly,
even that influence there. So I know there's with Dave Meltzer, he did some great like history review of what he accomplished and stuff. So you can look all that stuff online. But R.I.P. to Superstar Billy Graham, and thank you for everything you did for the business, as they say. So, all right, switching on over to a couple other items. Some sad news from an injury standpoint. A couple big things happened. This past weekend was the New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was the which show was that one again? A Resurgence event. This past Sunday down at Long Beach at the Pyramid. I've been into there. That's where I've been to that venue on Long Beach State for a New Japan show years ago. Saw Cody Rhodes there and everything. So, but yeah, Mercedes Moné was in the finals with Willow Nightingale for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. It was like a new title, right, Brian? Yep. Is that what that was?
Yep, brand new.
Let me see. Yeah, New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship finals. They had like a tournament that night, and in the finals it was Mercedes versus Willow, and it looks like Mercedes was on the top rope, had Willow Nightingale. She slipped. To save herself, she jumped to the outside and all the way to the floor, but by doing so, she broke her ankle, and she got back in the ring, and I guess they tried to call an audible on the spot, and told Willow, because what the reports are that Mercedes was supposed to go over. It was her title to win from the start, and unfortunately, she knew she broke her ankle and wanted to make an audible and have Willow win. Told Willow to do the finish, her finisher. And you saw the ref. I don't know if you saw the clip, but the ref was like 1, 2, and he knew that wasn't the finish, and he stopped, and it made for like a little awkward situation there because Mercedes didn't kick out, and he thought she was supposed to. And then I guess they told the ref, no, we gotta switch this up. And so Willow hit her finisher again, pinned Mercedes, and Willow is a new champion. So Mercedes out injured, broken ankle. She was carried out the ring. I think she tweeted out from the hospital a bit of an update. Broken ankle. I think the timetable is 2 to 3 months roughly. Yeah. I know AJ Styles broke his ankle earlier this year and was out for a couple months, and then he didn't come back till after WrestleMania with the draft. So, Mercedes, wish her a speedy recovery. I'm guessing she'll be out most of this summer. It's a little unfortunate the timing because we're a month away from Forbidden Door. So I think a lot of fans were hopeful that she was going to show up the New Japan Pro Wrestling AEW crossover show, maybe make an appearance there. That's doubtful now. But yeah, your thoughts, Brian, on just Mercedes' injury here?
It's horrible timing. Like a lot of people, I know before the match, the talk was, at least for the couple of days before Resurgence, I know I've seen like Busted Open talking, and I see a couple other people talking about them wanting to see her, do more stuff here in the U.S. now. Like people are like, hey, it's time for Mercedes to come back over to the U.S. side and start doing some stuff. And I agree with that. And I thought Forbidden Door would have been a perfect place to do that, right? To make an impact and to really put Mercedes Moné on the map, right?
Yeah.
And it's just sad that it had to happen. You know, the injury had to happen, the kind of injury, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, if it's like something that doesn't require her she could be off, like she doesn't have to wrestle, but she could at least still show up, right?
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
Do something, like if her hand's in a cast or something cool. But the ankle is such a gruesome thing. Like, you know, it could take a while to heal up. And like you said, AJ Styles was out with it. I really feel like she was starting to get a little momentum. I know a lot of people praised her for, you know, the match with Willow and even calling that audible and, you know, allowing Willow to, you know, get the victory there. Right. Instead of, because it sucks to have to vacate, you know, a championship that you just won. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, overall, it's really,
not
sad.
Be crowned in this situation.
Yeah. You don't want to make the championship a curse right out the bat. You know.
I know. Well, no, you brought up a good point, because I think by her winning that title, I would imagine, the strategy there was like, okay, she can do more events in the U.S. because, correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize, I'm not a New Japan Pro Wrestling expert on everything. I am a fan, but I watch it here and there. The Strong brand, that's more or less like the U.S. side of things, if I interpret correctly. Like New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, or New Japan Strong, is like the U.S. base property, TV show of New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's them expanding in the U.S. That's under that umbrella. It's like New Japan Pro Wrestling Prime is still based in Japan. But then if you're under like the Strong umbrella, like the secondary brand that's in the U.S. And so that way they can have, quote, New Japan shows in the U.S. under that Strong brand name. So my guess, like you said, I think if her winning that title, that was going to be their opportunity to use her star power and have her wrestle more in the U.S. under the New Japan promotion that way, and expand their reach here in the U.S. Because I think that's still their goal post pandemic is reestablish themselves in America. That's kind of, God, remember, was it 2017, 2018? New Japan was starting to get some good momentum in the U.S., but once AEW came in and just really took over as the secondary promotion in the U.S. or North America, and then the pandemic hit and they had to retract, and they just really kind of had to pull back everything, and they're like starting over from scratch again. So I definitely want to have New Japan have a big presence in America, but they're just kind of starting over. But it seemed like Mercedes is going to be the focal point of that expansion. So so wish her a speedy recovery. However, the little silver lining here is for Willow. I'm super happy for her. She is obviously still very shocked that she won, and rightfully so, because that was not the planned finish. But I think this could be an amazing opportunity for Willow. I think you and I, huge fans of her. I saw her wrestle, big time wrestling a couple months ago. Even at the New York Pavilion, you could tell she's a star. She's just naturally charismatic, huge baby face, easy to love and support. She's got it. And so I've been waiting for AEW. I know technically she's with Ring of Honor, but she does wrestle in AEW as well. I've been waiting for them to push her, because I think she could be like the next big baby face for that company. Me personally, I think I've said this before to you. It's like, I think she should be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill. Because I agree. There's an easy, great story there. It's like Jade's like this big, powerful, and Willow is kind of like, it's like two different. I'm trying to think how I want to explain it. Jade can like tell Willow, you're not on my level, you're not like me, and Willow can be like the real underdog baby face here to overcome it, and can really just take it out on Jade and get a big win there. So I don't know if they'll ever do that at some point, but now luckily, since AEW has a working relationship with New Japan, Willow can still do work with New Japan Strong and do stuff with AEW and work together. And who knows, maybe get that title featured on AEW so they get some extra love publicity for it. And we'll see what happens there. So I hope there's an opportunity for them to realize, okay, well, she has a title now. Let's push her to the moon, as they say, as Cameron Grimes would say. The moon. Yeah. So no, I'm really happy for Will and see where this can go. And this could be a happy accident, as they say, as was it Bob Ross? Bob Ross would say.
And it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, here we go, and this may not have been the plan, and this may not be the way that Willow wanted this to even happen, right?
Yeah.
This is her chance and her opportunity now to really, shake something up and make people go, ooh, okay,
Yeah,
something basically so that everyone gets to see what we see, right? Well, what we see, and I think she'll be able to do it.
Totally, I'm with you, and I'm looking forward to that.
Sets up a great rematch between her and Mercedes too.
Oh, totally. Yeah, they can totally milk it for a rematch, and Mercedes says that's the belt I never lost, or I should have won, and whatnot. So yeah, I'm all for that. Another injury over in WWE, Liv Morgan. Last week on SmackDown, it was her and Raquel versus Dakota Kai and Bayley. Mm-hmm. And during the match, it looked like Dakota Kai was going for a kick while Liv was down in the corner sitting down. And in that motion, it looked like her shoulder got pushed in the opposite direction. And it looks like she's out with a shoulder injury. And I believe she had surgery this week, so she's going to be out for a while. That sucks. Yeah,
that's sad, man.
It's just the timing because her and Raquel are women's tag team champions, and then unfortunately, Raquel, the following episode Raw had to relinquish the title since Liv's out injured. So Raquel has to drop the title, and they're going to have a fatal 4-way match. It was in 2 weeks to crown a new women's tag team champion. But the other unfortunate thing was in that match on SmackDown, Dakota Kai also got injured because so what happened was she got injured trying to protect Liv Morgan. So she saw that Liv was hurt with the shoulder, and I think she was trying to go for a top rope. What was it? Let's see.
It was or something.
Yeah, coming off the rope, jumping down, and didn't want to land too hard on Liv.
Yeah.
But by doing so, she landed awkwardly, and it was a torn ACL.
Yeah, she landed right on her feet, and you can definitely see the impact as she came down.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no.
I haven't had a chance to rewatch it. I got to rewatch it because I heard. I remember she was like, kind of a little screaming in pain a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's right. She had a torn ACL back in 2019. I remember that. Okay, so yeah, torn ACL. I don't know if it's the same one. I'm trying to see in here, but God, that just sucks. So she's out now. So you got Liv Morgan and Dakota Kai out. For Dakota Kai, torn ACL, that can be 6 to 9 months, maybe for some people up to a year.
Yeah.
So God, the timing. So yeah, Brian, your thoughts on first Liv Morgan and her injury, and then Dakota Kai.
Well, I mentioned it earlier about the curse, right? And I mean, if it can't get any more real about the women's tag team titles being a curse, I mean, there you go. It's so unfortunate because I feel like Liv and Raquel were, at least in my opinion, doing the best that they could to kind of revive those titles and kind of reshape or actually start to shape the women's tag team division. And it started with them, right? The champs, them being a tag team, and I thought they were a really good team. And to see Liv get hurt like that, I felt like, dang, everyone's been on a roll lately. This is going to be a nice long stretch. We just finished WrestleMania, so for Liv to get hurt, it's just like, now what's going to happen with Raquel? Because I know. Probably, whenever stuff like this happens, it's like, like the partner now. I mean, I'm pretty sure creatively they didn't have anything for Raquel singles wise, right? No. And so that's gonna suck. And then Dakota, her getting injured, I'm sure that puts whatever plans that they may have had in place, so they're gonna have to switch some things around regarding damage control, and that sucks for Io and Bayley, because now it's just like, now they got to figure it out on their own. It's just so unfortunate for everybody. And then even for Dakota Kai, not really, ever since coming back, obviously being a part of Damage Control, haven't really got a chance to be, a singles wrestler or anything like that. We haven't really got to see the best of Dakota Kai and what she has to offer on the main roster yet. And so now it's just like, now we're gonna have to go. Well, like you said, another 6 to 9 months, without her, and potentially with Damage Control probably being broken up before she comes back. Or even the like you get nervous because now it's just like, oh, well, maybe Damage Control won't be broken up now, and maybe they'll keep that on hold, and then Bayley and Io are gonna have to act like everything's all okay, which they're professionals, and Bayley is wonderful. I'm sure she could pull it off, but everyone's been wanting Damage Control to be broken up for a while now, and so but maybe it might be a blessing in disguise for everybody, because again, Liv, she's one of the fan favorites, and so her going away and coming back could do wonders for anybody, especially now we have a SmackDown champion who's a heel, I'm sorry, Raw champion. Oh no, SmackDown champion who's a heel, and Rhea Ripley, and and just the possibilities of Liv Morgan coming back and getting that ovation, and people, sometimes it's good. You got to go away for people to miss you a little bit, and same thing for Dakota Kai. Something might come out of this. Maybe we get a singles run from her. Maybe she comes back and feuds with Bayley. Who knows?
Well, I think you brought up a couple things as far as, okay, with Liv Morgan, it sucks because it felt like her and Raquel were really starting to make those tag titles feel special again and kind of reestablish the women's tag team division as a whole. As they were going to be the focal point of that. Now it's unfortunate. Yeah, Raquel, like where she go from here, which I'll touch on that in a second. It looks like for the short term, we know what she's going to be doing. With Dakota Kai, with the damage control, like the breakup seemed pretty imminent at some point. It was going to happen. With her gone, though, I think they could still play the angle of Bayley and Io falling out with one another, and that separates them. Because that was the tension was. It was like Dakota was kind of more in the middle at this point. It seemed like, as we know, Bayley cost Io her match at a Backlash against Bianca.
True.
So there's been tension building. So the two main players are still here. It's just the person that was kind of in the middle, the third wheel, Dakota Kai, is not there. So I think they can maybe do some adjustments from the story standpoint. And I think Bayley and Io can still have their falling out, and then that's in the last two members of Damage Control, and they can have a program there where Io or Bayley turns on the other, and then they fight against each other, and that could be a really fun non-title women's program for WWE television in the near future. And then when Dakota Kai does come back, maybe that's the story there. Is like, whose side is she on? Who's she gonna align herself with after being gone for so while? So that could be something they can tell on in the near future as well when she does return. So do wish her speedy recovery. But on Raw this week, they did announce a fatal 4-way match to crown new women's tag team champion. So it's going to be Raquel and the mystery opponent. Also, it was also going to be Ronda and Shayna. And then let's see, who was the other one? I had it here.
It was Bayley and
Io. And then Chelsea and Sonya Deville. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. And then Raquel comes out. Ronda and Shayna are confronting her. They beat her up recently. The last week's episode on Raw. Shotzi Blackheart comes out, makes the save. Raquel, I like kind of that move. Raquel stood on the ropes, spread the ropes open wider, and then Shotzi suicide dived through the ropes on them too. So in the short term, Shotzi is going to be her new tag team partner, which kind of makes sense. They do have a little history together. I mean, they were in NXT together, but also they did tag briefly, right? Like Raquel came out in the tank once. I mean, Raquel. Yeah, Raquel's the one who's had so many different tag team partners.
I feel like Shotzi did too at one point.
Shotzi did too. Was it Candice?
It was Tegan.
Tegan, I'm sorry. But Raquel had Liv Morgan, Aaliyah, Where's Aaliyah been, by the way? What happened to her?
I think I read something. I'm not sure. I think I read something that she got injured or something.
Okay. Who else? Dakota back in the day. Remember Dakota on TV brought her over at was it Worlds Collide or NXT TakeOver Portland, where Raquel had her re-debut a few years ago as Dakota's
It might have been a TakeOver,
yeah. So Raquel's had quite a few opponents. So maybe for Raquel, just let her have a singles run at this point. Let her just focus on that. So, but we wish everyone speedy recovery and hope, we wish everyone the best after this. So, all right, let's move on over to WWE Night of Champions premium live event this Saturday, live from Saudi Arabia. We got 7 matches to talk about. Yes. Let's give our thoughts on run down the card and see who's going to win and kind of where your head's at and all this. I'm going to do something a little different. God, this is a reminder. We need to start doing video for the podcast here. But no, for Brian and I'm going to, on our screen here, I'm going to bring up the match graphics here. Let me see. I had it. I'll bring it up. There we go. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. I'm doing a little tech stuff. I wish, I should do videos so that way we can show the visual of the graphics here of these cards here. So I'm going to bust it out here. All right, for you and I to look at. All right, so we have 7 matches to talk about. First things first. First match we're going to talk about for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther will defend against Mustafa Ali. Brian, how you thinking? Who's going to win in this match?
So it's one of those situations where I feel like, okay, obviously the favorite is Gunther, right? He's going to retain the Intercontinental Championship. But man, what an upset that would be if Mustafa Ali were to capture the Intercontinental Championship from Gunther in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. It would just be one of those moments that I think people wouldn't necessarily be mad at. Right. I hate it. I hate it had to be him, honestly, because I know he's had a little gimmick going on, Mr. Positive Ali. But it's one of those conflicting things because my prediction would be Gunther, right? But it's like I want to be wrong a little bit, like, but then I don't want Gunther's reign to end. But then the way that the higher ups, according to Twitter, right, according to everyone on Twitter, with the higher ups talking so good about Gunther and them wanting him in the world championship picture and stuff like that, it's just like. But then it's just like, I feel like whoever beats Gunther, it can't be like, I feel like Ali, if Ali was going to win, it's got to be like some fluke win or, like a roll up or, oh my God, Ali's the new finish. You know what I mean? I mean, out of all people, right? And there's no knock on Ali, but it's just like, I don't think anyone's expecting Ali to give Gunther a run for his money. Right. But it's an interesting match. I know, Ali knows how to work, and it'll be interesting to see them two in the ring together. But I'm going with Gunther.
Yeah, hands down, Gunther's winning here. Just kind of what you were saying as far as I think the goal here, long term, they want him to break Honky Tonk Man's record for longest IC champion title reign. They keep saying he has the longest title reign in this century. But I think the goal here is be all time. And so to get to that point, I think September at this point. So, yeah, sadly for Mustafa Ali, he's not winning here. I think the build's been kind of poor for a couple things. One, they just had the Battle Royal a couple of weeks ago, which that was a pretty fun Battle Royal that night. And it was a shocker seeing Mustafa Ali win, but kudos to him. Finally, something significant happening to him on TV. He's just been kind of existing for the last couple of years. Hasn't really done anything major. I feel kind of bad just having really anything creative for him. I know a lot of people are big fans of him and just his athleticism, great in-ring work, but hasn't really just taken things to the next level yet as far as a big program. And that's the problem here. This would be a big program on paper, but it's been a really short build. So they haven't really interacted on TV together. As you said, he kind of dropped the Positive Ali stuff. in the backstage interview he had this week, but it got cut off short from Brock Lesnar, who walked by him and says, "Get a life, kid." So talk about a little bit of a burial right there on live TV. I know he had to cut his own video promos he posted on Twitter to kind of, hype himself up or get the WWE universe behind him. But yeah, it's just been unfortunate. It's just kind of not a lot of build between the two of them interacting with each other to get me emotionally involved and care about this match. I think the big thing here is just what's going to happen. Hopefully Ali can have a strong showing and just a gutted out performance. And even though he loses, still gets the sympathy from the WWE universe, and maybe they can use that momentum moving forward. But yeah, it unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be, I think the big takeaway is just how many chops is Ali going to take from Gunther at this point. Like I said the other day, it'd just be a counter, just how many times he gets chopped. So I think that's the big thing here. So Gunther's going to win.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see like how the crowd feels. Because last time Masfali was there, he was booed, right? Because he was going going up against Mansoor or Mansoor.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's right.
So it'll be interesting if the crowd's gonna love him here, or if they're gonna love Gunther.
Well, the thing, Gunther is a heel, Imperium's a heel faction, but the crowd still likes Gunther. So I wonder, would he maybe use some heel cheating tactics to win? Because Gunther, his matches, he just fights and beats the crap out of you and just wins clean, which I love. But then again, sometimes that can only last you for so long before the crowd just starts loving that and embracing it, and you just naturally get over as a baby face. I like Gunther as a heel and should stay a heel. So I wonder, maybe he'll use some different tactics to get the win here, or maybe a DQ. But no, I think Gunther hands down. So
yeah.
All right, match number 2 for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Natty here. I don't know, Brian, did you ever see the spreads on this? Did you hear about that at all?
Yeah.
Like Rhea's favorite, what, like by 1,000, like the highest, one of the highest ever for this match, which I feel bad. Like that's not fair to Natty, but that's what happens when you got like a thrown together match that doesn't have a lot of build and someone that hasn't been really built up as a credible opponent.
Right.
You got this situation here. So it's pretty obvious, I think, who's going to win. But yeah, your thoughts on this match, who you see winning, which I think is kind of obvious.
So believe it or not, this is another one of those matches. I think a lot of this card is going to be like this for me. It's another one of those matches that I feel like I wouldn't mind Natalya winning here. Just because I feel like matches like this should lead to, maybe not these ones, right? Maybe not the Intercontinental title and the SmackDown Women's Championship right now, but like I feel like at some point WWE's got to do something like where they they give us a random match like this, and then suddenly the champion loses, and it's just like, oh my god, and it's like everyone, the person who everyone thought was gonna win actually ends up losing. So but I know Rhea Ripley's not losing that. She didn't lose to the Queen City to lose it. She didn't take my Queen's championship at WrestleMania just to lose it to Natalya. No disrespect, okay?
Yeah.
But Rhea Ripley's on a roll right now, and I really do wish that there was more of a build. I think Rhea deserves better. I think Natalya can definitely bring it. I don't know why she's always putting these awkward, small builds that leads her to a championship match. No one believes it, right? I wish we got a meaningful build that involved Natalya, where people actually wanted to and believe that she was going to win. So it sucks all the way around, but I know that we'll go a couple of sharpshooters and turn around clotheslines and stuff. It'll be nice.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, it's a bummer just how poor the buildup for this match has been. Literally, all it's been was what Rhea was in the ring a couple weeks ago. Natty just came randomly out and confronted her, and that's about it. And then on the go home episode Raw this week, Natty wasn't even on the show. So like Rhea Ripley was busy being with Dominic this week. So there was nothing there. Yeah. I think Natty posted a video on Twitter just saying, she knows people are doubting her and don't believe in her, but typical babyface promo to put on social media, which I give credit to her and Ali kind of using social media to their advantage to kind of help hype up their individual matches more when they're not getting proper TV time for it. But in this situation, hands down, Rhea Ripley's winning here. I think we talked about this before. I think Rhea's going to have a long title reign, and if and when she does drop, it's going to be on a big stage, like a WrestleMania type stage. So sorry, Natty, you're not winning here. No, it's just, Natty will put up a good fight, maybe have some good moments in the match that make her stand out. She's a pro, so she's one of the all-time greats, so she's going to, have her spots to shine. But Rhea Ripley's not losing anytime soon. All right. Another match here for the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair defending against Asuka. Same thing, man. Not a lot of build. At least we got a little bit more substance wise compared to their match at WrestleMania. So I guess technically this is a WrestleMania rematch. Mm-hmm. But Brian, let's talk about the build real quick for it. Very poor as far as, was it Bianca when she got drafted to SmackDown? She was going to have a celebration for having the longest title reign. Asuka interrupted it in her home state of Tennessee. Comes out, blows the blue mist in her face. Bianca screaming, sold it like $1 million that she was in total pain, eyes burning, all that stuff. Yeah. And then on SmackDown last week, Asuka had a match with Zelina Vega, won in dominant fashion, was still had her in her submission hold. Bianca comes out, makes the save, and chases Asuka out of the ring. And then she tried to go through the ropes to grab Asuka, but Asuka blew the blue mist again. But Bianca kind of leaned back to kind of avoid it. But she still got part of it on her. But this time she didn't sell it at all, which I was kind of surprised. Okay, maybe because it didn't technically hit her in the eyes. Yeah. But still, I think it's on her skin and stuff. Wouldn't that still kind of hurt? From a kayfabe? Maybe just be or maybe just you have that feeling oh my God, it almost got in my eyes, worried almost. You know? Touch him, close call. But she didn't sell it. She just stood there, looked mad, with just blue dripping on her cheeks and on her clothes and stuff. So it seemed a little awkward there because I don't know what was supposed to happen. Maybe was Asuka supposed to miss completely and Bianca's supposed to move out of the way quicker and no blue mist was going to touch her at all. I don't know. Right. But that's about it. But then again, that is more than we got before the WrestleMania match. So I guess that's the one highlight here, silver lining. But for the match itself, I love Asuka. She's one of my favorites. But like Rhea Ripley, I don't see Bianca dropping this title anytime soon. So I see Bianca winning here. What you think?
It's sad because this is probably out of the three so far that we've talked about, or the two so far that we've talked about, this being the third one. I really think that this one would favor not just Asuka, but the women's division as a whole, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like Asuka winning here is the right thing because I feel like Asuka it's time to take Asuka to that next step. Yeah. It's time to go to that next step with Asuka. I know that we got a streak in a title reign going on, over 400 days or something with for Bianca Belair. I get that. But what if I had to guess how this match is going to go, it's probably going to be Bianca Belair. She's going to either dodge the mist or she's going to use the mist on Asuka.
Or I could see she gets mist in the face, so Bianca's blinded, but she can somehow still get Asuka back and do a blinded KOD on her. So it's oh my God, Bianca overcame the odds again, and despite being blinded by the blue mist, she still got her finisher off, and that's another big feat of strength or achievement that she accomplished in the match there. So I can see how they'll try to use that to really sell, like, oh my God, Bianca is Superwoman. She overcomes anything thrown her way. Nothing can stop her.
That's a good point.
Which could happen. But out of the matches so far, I could see this one. Asuka does have a better chance than Natty in her respected match. Yeah. So I could see Asuka potentially winning here. But like I said earlier with Rhea, I think Bianca losing the title, it's going to be on a big stage like a WrestleMania or SummerSlam. I know there's been rumors of her and the Street Profits turning heel at some point this year. Maybe that heel turn happens after she drops the title. I still wish, it's weird. Bianca is on SmackDown, still has the Raw Championship. Rhea is on Raw, has the SmackDown Championships. I don't know if they're waiting for a title swap at some point, or maybe when one of them drops the title, then whoever that winner is of the title and starts a new title reign, part of the celebration is they reveal a brand new championship, a rebranded championship. So maybe for right now, does that make sense though, what I'm saying? Like, let's say Asuka wins and they're like, we're going to celebrate Asuka winning, being new champion. Here's a new belt design and it's going to be renamed as this now. So it's no longer Raw. Raw Women's Championship is going to be XYZ Championship now or something like that. I don't know. But
I feel like a perfect time to, if they were going to do a title swap or some type of title anything, it would have been cool if they did it at Night of Champions, right? Because you have both Rhea Ripley and Bianca there in the same building at the same time. So, I mean, it would just make sense if they were just like, if they were going to do a title swap, which is super lame, and I know a lot of people hate it, but if they had to do it, Night of Champions just seems like the right place to do that. Or at least like have like some type of ceremony where you rebrand or rename the championships. I know at WrestleMania 32, the triple threat was supposed to be for the Divas Championship, but then they rebranded it and made it for the Women's Championship.
Yeah.
At the time.
See, I think the reason they haven't done anything yet with title swaps is because Bianca's record-breaking title reign is connected to the Raw Women's Championship. So do a title swap, it's almost like you're resetting everything. So I think they're riding this wave out for as long as they can before they have to rebrand anything or rename it. I don't know. We'll see. It's just like, I just got confused. Like, I was watching Raw and I had it on the background. I looked up, I see Rhea come out and I was like, oh, she's making an appearance from SmackDown. Oh, no, wait. She got drafted to Raw, but she has the SmackDown title. So I still get confused watching Raw and SmackDown, respectively, when Bianca comes out. I was like, oh, the Raw Women's Champion's here, but it's on SmackDown. So, a little confusing. All right. Next match, Becky Lynch taking on Trish Stratus. I have my thoughts as far as Trish is run so far, but I would love to hear from you first. Great contract signing this week as far as the back and forth, as far as the context, what they said to take jabs at each other. Yeah. As far as Trish telling Becky, like, you just got over because you had a broken nose, but then Trish, got mad at her. Because I think it was Adam Pearce said no contact, or Trish demanded no contact contract signing, which is different because all contracts signed end up in mayhem and fisticuffs. But this one was just, no, they got to be civil out there. But I like how Becky told Trish, welcome to the big times, bitch. Woof, woof. Or she's going to bark like a dog. Throw a call back to when Vince McMahon had Trish Stratus bark like a dog. Yeah. But then, Trish threw the table up and ran out of the ring. And like I said, I have my thoughts about Trish, but your thoughts on the build thus far and who you see winning here.
Oh, man. So Trish has been saying some really good things, and she's been very methodical with her promos, very, like, almost surgical, right? And I know that they've WWE has done a lot of added crowd noise, like the piped in crowd noises for some of her promos and things, but like I feel like it's not needed sometimes, like not as much at least. And then even for Becky, so I felt like when she came back, it was a little flat. She didn't even like look like she was that engaged or into it. But now, after, this contract sign, I'm like, okay, Becky Lynch, she gave a great promo. Trish Stratus, she can talk a good game, man. I'm more concerned about, her being able to keep up with Becky in the ring. I remember Becky when she was champion. I remember she was having matches with everybody. Even she had that match with Doudrop at Royal Rumble, and I'm like, man, like she can go with anybody, you know. And so I'm curious. I know that it was I forget which Saudi show it was, but she had the match with Lita, and didn't really go as smoothly as it probably should.
That was last year's Elimination Chamber. Last year's Elimination Chamber was in Saudi. Yeah. There
we go. And so, now she's got Trish, which what a career, right? Like what a ride Becky's taken, wrestling Lita and then teaming up with the both of them at WrestleMania, and now she's wrestling Trish. Like it's pretty crazy. But yeah, man, I hope Trish can hang. I hope that she's been whatever jitters or whatever she needed to work out, so that we don't get like such a stagnant, slow pace, cluster match. I hope she's worked that out, and I hope we get a good. Because I guess you could say this is like a non-title feud that's been happening. The build has been like I said, they both can really talk really good, but I appreciate Trish or whatever they've had her doing, like the social media stuff she's doing, the t-shirt and the posters, or where's Becky Lynch, like that whole thing was on. I loved it. That stuff was really, really good. And so we're gonna see if she can hang. I think I'm gonna go with oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna go with I'm going Trish Stratus. She's gonna steal one.
Okay. So I like everything you just said. I like the context, or excuse me, the content of what Trish has been saying in her promos has been good so far. It's just her delivery has not been hitting with me. It's like it's weird. It's kind of, I'm trying to think how the best way to describe it. It's like what she's saying, the words she's actually saying, it's coming off like very much like a cocky jerk. Like she's, calling out Becky's, child and taking shots at different people, and, she's being a jerk and saying some, nasty things, right. But the delivery of it, it's like so mild. I don't want to say almost like monotone. It's just so mild delivery. I'm not saying it's putting me to sleep, but it's just like, I feel like there's not enough emotion there to kind of add some heat, get me revved up for this match. It's just like, hey, I like the delivery's so mild. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just like, I'm like, come on, put some more emotion or passion into this delivery. Like, show me that you're angry and you hate Becky. I like how Trish early on, when she turned on Becky and said, no one tells me thank you that I launched the women's revolution. Like back in my day, if I didn't lay the foundation, Becky and everyone else wouldn't be where they're at today if it wasn't for me. Where's my thank you? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that kind of just, I don't know if you know the answer, or was there any reports on, Becky was gone for a couple weeks.
Yeah, that hurt him.
So I felt like that kind of lost some momentum for the build. So
we got no hard explanation on that.
Yeah. So I hope everything's okay if it's a real life situation with Becky. But so with that being said, now for the match itself, these are two, A-list stars, two of the biggest names ever in WWE, especially for the women's division. Like my gut is saying Becky should win here, but I could see Trish winning by using heel tactics, because remember early on when the reports are that they were going to wrestle each other, it was going to be at SummerSlam. And I think you and I, we did an episode and we're like, how are they going to stretch this out for the next few months? The only way I could see they have a match at SummerSlam. Maybe now, since they're wrestling here, maybe it's going to be a rematch at SummerSlam. And I did the Believe in Pro Wrestling podcast yesterday, prediction show with Rick Ucchino and SP3. And Rick brought up an interesting point. He's like, he can see Becky winning here, and then Becky moves on to Money in the Bank. She's in the Money in the Bank match, and Trish has been gone for all those weeks, because that's going to be what, first week in July. So that's what, 5-6 weeks away. So Trish, let's say she loses here at Night of Champions. We don't see her for all that time. Makes a big surprise return, interferes in the women's Money in the Bank match, and costs Becky from grabbing the briefcase, and therefore sets it off for their rematch at SummerSlam, which I was like, oh, okay, that could work. And then maybe Becky gets another win at SummerSlam. So I could see that. So I could see Becky winning here to then motivate another heel move from Trish at Money in the Bank to set up a match at SummerSlam. So because if Trish wins here, let's see, now I'm like thinking all different scenarios here and angles here. But anyway,
I mean, Trish could, because I thought about the Money in the Bank interference too, and now I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. Maybe it'd be best if Becky won, because then, Becky wins, right? So she would probably be awarded an opportunity to compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it probably would be best if Becky won.
Okay. I think, maybe that's where you and I are going here. Becky wins to set up some future opportunities. And that's the thing too, is keep in mind, Becky is so over. I feel like most fans want to see her back in the title picture, in the main event scene, but I don't think it's her time yet per se. I think they want Rhea, because she's on Raw, Rhea's on Raw. I don't think you have Becky and Rhea go at it soon. I think you build to that for a bigger show down the road. So how do you keep Becky occupied throughout the summer? Okay, well, maybe the Money in the Bank match, maybe and then the rematch with Trish at SummerSlam. So that keeps her busy for the next couple months. And then maybe it sets up for something for Survivor Series or something like that down the road. So I'm okay. I'll lean Becky winning now, but there's going to be some shenanigans in the coming months that leads to a rematch at SummerSlam. So, all right, we'll see how it goes. All right. The first of 3 main events for Night of Champions. Yes, there are 3 main events here. First being Seth Rollins, AJ Styles for the finals for the new World Heavyweight Championship. Also, we got the tag titles on the line, and also Brock versus Cody. It's just funny, 3 main events here. I think because theoretically this is for the new World Heavyweight title. This should main event because it's for the new World Heavyweight Championship, the new top title for WWE. But then you got Brock and Cody, which main evented Backlash. They're having a rematch here. That's worthy of a main event. But then you got Roman Reigns, who's the biggest star in the company, who's the WWE Undisputed Champion, but he's in a tag match. But anytime he's on a show, he should be the main event draw there. So that's why I think they're just trying to be diplomatic and say 3 main events. So, all right. So let's talk about this match here. AJ versus Seth. The promos the last couple weeks have been great for Seth. The video packages, the sit-down interviews. That's been great filler, especially because Seth's been off filming Captain America 4 for the MCU. So I think
that's awesome.
Yeah. AJ Styles, not so much. I think he had like a short 90-second video package last week, but not a lot of build. I don't know, how are you thinking about the build to this, and where are you thinking who's going to win here?
It's hard because you got 2 guys who are on opposite brands, right? Which I think plays, a lot of people were upset about that early on, knowing that it was going to be someone from Raw and someone from SmackDown competing for the rights to be the world champ of Raw, right? So, but the build has been, I really like the stuff that they've been doing with Seth Rollins. AJ Styles hasn't, like you said, hasn't really been given much of anything. You got a video package, and that's pretty much it. It would have been nice to have them, sit down. Think about it. You could have done the interviews. It could have been like a 4-part interviews segment one-on-one face-to-face between Seth Rollins and AJ. Just because they're on separate brands don't mean they can't be in in a room at WWE headquarters, right, ahead of a big match for a big championship, right? I feel like they could have done a lot more, but and then I think they've been focusing a lot on Seth Rollins and his problems or his issues with Roman Reigns a lot too. I don't know. It's been pretty lopsided. They've been giving him the treatment, and everyone obviously is kind of writing Styles off. And obviously they're like, okay, Seth Rollins is going to be the guy. He's the guy. He's going to win the world title, but maybe, you never know. Maybe not.
Okay. I think hands down Seth Rollins is winning, especially he's on Raw. It's supposed to be the Raw title, number one, the new number one title for Raw. Right. I can only see AJ Styles winning. If he wins as a shocker, him and OC move over to Raw, and then in doing so, there's a trade. Then maybe the trade's for Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes goes to SmackDown. Therefore, he's back on the same brand as Roman Reigns, and he can continue that chase to finish the story at some point. But also, AJ recently did an interview and made comments about the new title and said, well, Roman has the other titles, so this one definitely feels secondary. So even he acknowledged it's secondary when everyone else has been saying. So it's like, it's like, dude, why'd you say that? It's like, it's almost like you don't care about winning it. Yep. And so it's almost really telegraphing. It's like Seth's going to win because Seth, his video promos, he's been saying how much he wants it. He's been eyeballing it when he's been on TV. He stares at it. He said he wants the title. He wants to be the opposite of Roman Reigns. He wants to have a top title, wrestle, be there all the time, defending that title. Just like I said, the opposite of Roman Reigns. And it's interesting. This is his third time he's going to be in a match for a new title. Remember, he was in the first match for when NXT title was created. He was in the match with Finn Balor for the new Universal title at the time, and now he's in the match for the new World Heavyweight title. So, I think Seth Rollins is going to win here. And I'm with you, though. It kind of sucks we never got one-on-one interaction between the two of them at any point. Mm-hmm. Like, I like the idea what you said. Like, maybe they should, if they're going to do those video promos, why not do face-offs, one-on-one interviews against each other? Mm-hmm. Or I'm surprised AJ never showed up to Raw and confronted Seth. But then again, I get it. Those are all pre-taped because Seth's been off TV for a couple weeks doing the Marvel stuff. Yeah. But I wish they would have had some altercation between the two of them, like confronting each other. Mm-hmm. Something. Just give me, like I keep saying, get me emotionally involved and care about this match. So, yeah. So I know Vince likes AJ Styles. Unless Vince McMahon last minute tells Triple H, you put the title on AJ Styles. I think it's Seth's winning here, hands down. And then he's going to be the workhorse champion, defending that title all over the place. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yep. All right. Second main event here for the unified, or is it technically unified? Is that the right term? Undisputed tag team titles. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens defending against the Bloodline. But this time, Roman Reigns and Solo, and I think we talked about it on a couple episodes ago. Roman comes out, and the Usos say we want another chance to go after those titles, but Roman's like, nah, me and Solo are going to handle business and bring those tag titles back to the Bloodline ourselves. So adding tension between him and the Usos. Think the Usos are losers ever since they lost at WrestleMania. So that's been the story there, building tension. I want to ask you, though, on SmackDown last week, where Roman and Solo were confronting Sami and Kevin, and Sami said, the Usos are better than you guys. And then the Usos came out and attacked Sami and Kevin. But right before that, Roman was confronting Sami, and he was really trying to explain, like he felt like he wasted his life being there for Sami when Sami was part of the Bloodline. And I really loved this exchange between the two of them. Like Roman's like, I've heard people say it's like confronting an ex-girlfriend. You're trying to explain why you're mad and frustrated. So it was like Roman was about to really like let into Sami and explain why he hates him, why he's frustrated, but it got interrupted by the Usos. And Sami and Kevin were out of the ring. Roman got really pissed at the Usos. Like, you guys, you ruined it again. You're ruining my plans. You don't follow my orders. He was pissed because I think Roman had a lot to get off his chest, but didn't have a chance to. And he says, you ruined this. But then, he turned around, bumps into Solo, but stops, looks startled or almost afraid, scared. And he's takes a second, takes a deep breath and calms himself down and goes out the ring by himself. So how do you interpret that Roman Solo exchange? Do you think Roman's just flat out afraid of Solo, or think there's something else we can read into this?
That's a good question. I think I wouldn't say Roman's scared of Solo. I think Roman's just probably in a tough spot because he knows that Solo is the Usos' younger brother, and it's probably mentally it's probably Roman probably thinks he probably that interaction they had, right? He bumps into him and Roman kind of he looks scared, right? But I feel like Roman does that to just get you right where he wants you. It's he wants you to think he fears you, or he wants you to think that maybe you almost like a test to kind of test you to see where everyone's at and what's going on. And I feel like he's only doing that with Solo because he didn't really do that. He didn't do that with the Usos. I feel like he's doing that with Solo because think about it. Maybe I don't think he really knows Solo. We all know that he grew up with the Usos, and I'm probably going a little too deep into it.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking he doesn't really know Solo like that. So he doesn't, with the Usos, he knows what he's going to get night in and night out. They've all been in WWE for such a long time. We all know that they cousins grew up all together, but Solo's, a little unpredictable. So, sometimes maybe Roman's got to play that role. Oh, sorry, man. Or, hey, relax, big fella. Don't worry about it. But I can see while everyone keeps talking about, this is a sidebar. Everyone keeps talking about Solo being the one to dethrone Roman. I don't know, man. Roman seems like the guy that'll just snap one day and just blow up on Solo and just beat the crap out of him. I just feel it. Like one of these days he's gonna snap, because who's he gonna have left? I mean, we're already on the brink of a possible, Usos leaving the bloodline. I know people were talking about that on Twitter. If all he has is Solo, right? And Solo doesn't seem like the type to really answer to just anybody, right? He does answer to Roman, but he might get tired of it quicker than the Usos did, right? And so I don't know. When Roman's fed up, he's dangerous. People tend to forget that.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point. As far as I think Roman, maybe not so much afraid, but he realized for right now it's a numbers game, and
yes,
he doesn't want to do anything to jeopardize his relationship with Solo right now, because he needs him for this match against Sammy and Kevin. So he bumped into him, but he's not going to push him or pie face him or get in his face, because he's like, okay, my plan right now is I need him to win these tag titles. I'm not going to jeopardize that working relationship right now. The Usos will deal with that later.
And let's remember, Roman sort of gives off a vibe that he's not the bad guy, right? He's the head of the table. He's the tribal chief. He provides for his family. He has to be in this position. It's not necessarily he is the chosen one, right? He doesn't want to. He loves Jimmy. He loves Jay, right? So I feel like when he plays that role where he's scared, when he gets like that, it's almost like he's just I'm sorry, man. You know what I mean? Because he's a nice guy. Roman's a nice guy. And he wants everyone to think that. Yeah. I can't wait for Roman to snap again. I feel like Roman's at his best when he just loses it. And, but the fact that he's wrestling for the tag team titles, in kind of a I'll do it myself fashion.
Well, I like how Sammy said, I wish I would have hit you sooner with that chair. I love that little back and forth.
Yeah.
It's I think, okay, I think Sammy and Kevin are going to win. I think the Usos are going to get involved. I know Paul Heyman showed up on Raw again, even though he's a SmackDown person. Was it 2 weeks ago? He had the visitor pass. This week, he showed up again, and he said the Usos are going to watch from home. We all know damn well the Usos are not going to watch from home. They're going to be in Saudi. They're going to interfere, and I think they're going to cost the... I know normally the Bloodline have been like undefeated on pay-per-views. You don't bet against them. I think in this, I would hate to see Kevin and Sammy lose the titles so soon.
Me too.
Because I feel like they haven't had a chance to have a good title reign and face other people other than the Bloodline. I would like to see them go up against other fresh new tag teams on Raw or SmackDown. Mostly on Raw. I think a lot of the tag teams are over there. So I want them to tell different stories away from the Bloodline. So that's why I hope they retain here. And I think the Usos is that wild card that could cost the Bloodline a match. Now, in a way of like a moral victory or payback, I'd love to see maybe the Usos get involved and Sami Zayn pins Roman Reigns. like Sami pins Roman Reigns, and it's almost like a make good for their Elimination Chamber match. And everyone wanted to see him win. Yeah. But he pins Roman to retain the tag titles. But big picture, you've been building up Roman as this ultimate champion. It's going to hit 1,000 days title reign this Saturday. You've been building up this mega star. You're not going to pin him or have his back on the ground getting pinned for a tag team match. So I feel like the Bloodline's going to lose, but Solo's going to be the one to eat the pin. And I think that's the way to go. But I think the Usos are going to cost them. And it's going to lead to tension between Usos and Solo and Roman, and maybe they have a match against each other at Money in the Bank or something.
How do you celebrate? Right? Like, I feel like I'm right there with you with, Sammy and Kevin winning. I don't want them to lose either, and I think that they will win. But I'm just thinking, like, how would they do that? Like, I mean, I know it doesn't matter if Roman loses or not. It's not like he's not losing his championships or anything, right? His title's aren't on the line, but it just feels very like, like Roman and Soul. It feels very, I don't know, NWO-ish, like outsiders, like the way that I just see them beating up Kevin and Sammy, taking their titles.
Do you see Roman potentially walking out with 4 titles, like the Universal, the WWE Championships, and then like 1 Raw and 1 SmackDown tag team title, like 4 belts, Roman. But then the reason I also see him winning is like, how do you book out of that? Like, if he has all these titles, how do you get these belts off him at some point?
I saw.
He's getting 4 belts for like the next year.
I saw the rumors floating around online that, it could be Roman and Solo against the Usos at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And for the titles and maybe, God, it would be it's such a bad idea. It's a good idea for the story, but such a bad idea for the tag team division, because then you're going to have Roman holding hostage the tag titles for 2 months,
or
3 months. Right. Yeah. And so, it's a bad idea, but such a good one. And I mean, I guess you can argue and say that, they don't really, Roman, Solo, and against Usos can still happen. Doesn't need the tag titles in order for that to happen. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Yeah. No, I think Sammy and Kevin retains here because you don't want your tag titles to get held hostage by Roman. Mm-hmm. And then what happens? They're going to make new titles, world heavyweight tag titles for Raw only. Here's another belt design. And so, I think that's what's going to happen. Sammy and Kevin retain, and the Bloodline turmoil is going to happen throughout the summer. It's going to be the summer of the Bloodline demise.
Summer of the Bloodline.
Summer of the Bloodline. Summer of the Bloodline. Yeah, all that's the demise, the breakdown, all that stuff. All right, last match here, the third of the main events. Brock Lesnar taking on Cody Rhodes. Man, there's so many layers here just from this past episode of Monday Night Raw. We see Cody Rhodes entering the building, smiling, bringing his luggage with him, walking in. And then Brock Lesnar, out of nowhere, just attacks him, beats him up, takes an empty beer keg, smashes against Cody's arm up against the wall. Looks like he broke it, or at least kayfabe, they're saying it's broken. Yep. He's in the locker room all throughout the rest of the night. Doesn't want medical attention, doesn't want to be seen. Adam Pearce doesn't know what to do. He's on the phone talking to someone. At the end of the night, we see Triple H come in, talk to Cody, and says, you don't need to do this. We know it's broken. You don't need to prove anything. You've wrestled with the torn pec. You don't need to fight this match, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Earlier tonight, Brock Lesnar comes to the ring and says he wants a fight, wants an open challenge then at Night Champions. Cody comes out and confronts him. Brock beats him up some more, puts him in with the Kimura, snaps his arm. So between a beer keg taken smashed against his arm, the Kimura lock in the ring, Cody's arm's really damaged.
Wow.
A lot of beat down between the two of them last couple weeks, fighting each other and stuff. I'm curious how this is going to play out as far as, Brock says he wants a fight. Are we going to see an actual match here? Is it going to turn into a fight? Is the bell actually going to ring at any point?
Right.
How are you feeling about what could see happen here at Night of Champions?
I don't know. I feel like, obviously when you hear the word, when you hear fight, you think, okay, these guys are going to fight. I'm thinking, jeans, street clothes. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting Cody's arm to be casted up. I'm expecting Brock Lesnar to really, really, go whatever length he has to go to hurt Cody. I feel like Cody is just going to take a beating. Uh-huh. I don't know, man. I love everything. I know it's not been everyone's favorite, what's been going on with Cody and Brock and the story and the fact that we don't know why Brock has been attacking Cody this whole time.
Yeah.
And I get that, but this is some good stuff, man. Cody's been selling the hell out of it, and Brock has been as destructive as ever, right? And so I'm digging this rematch or this fight, mm-hmm. right? I would really love for it to be a fight. Maybe Brock Lesnar comes out, Cody. We'll see how they play it, because with the pressure that they're trying to put on Cody to back out of the match, and with Triple H even being the last one to come in the room and try and stop Cody from doing this, I would think that maybe they'll try, and maybe they're going to spend the entire week, maybe they'll spend the entire, day before Night of Champions or even during, to try and stop Cody from doing this, right? So maybe, I know they kind of already did this where they had Brock come out, Cody came out in the arm sling. I don't know, maybe we do get that.
I was gonna say, Cody better come to the ring wearing a cast on that broken arm, just to sell it, just like his dad, Dusty Rhodes, back in the 80s, got his arm broken by the Four Horsemen, wore the cast. Like, I want that. I'm all for Cody trying to do his own version of telling his dad's stories, or updated versions of that. So I would love to see Cody come out with the cast to really sell the broken arm injury. I think they kind of did the broken arm injury angle here to give them an out for why Brock Lesnar is going to win. So I'm leaning towards Brock Lesnar winning. I think this is going to be a trilogy of matches. So this is only the second match. As you know, any good trilogies, for example, Star Wars, the first one, the heroes win, Luke Skywalker wins, Empire Strikes Back. Sorry, spoiler alert. Luke does not win. Mm-hmm. he gets his hand cut off from Darth Vader, finds out Darth Vader is his father. It ends on a sad note. Yep. The third one, Return of the Jedi, they win again. Luke Skywalker defeats the Empire. So I could see Cody in this second match go down defeat to Brock Lesnar. Yeah. It's just going to be not a good day for him at the office. Now, whether it's a squash match or Brock just continues to beat up the arm and Cody just tries to keep fighting, not give up. Maybe he passes out from the pain so he doesn't actually like tap out or anything. Mm-hmm. Maybe they use that angle, the injury angle there to for him to lose, but to kind of cover or to protect him a little bit. So that's how I see Cody Rhodes losing here. Because my concern, if he wins, then people will be like, oh my God, this guy is like Super Cena. He just wins everything. And I'm worried the older fans going to be like, start turning on him, kind of like what happened to him in AEW.
Yeah.
For me, and I saw on Twitter, someone commented, keep in mind, this is WWE. While AEW caters to like an older, smart wrestling crowd, WWE still caters to the young kids. And while I think for us wrestling fans, us in our 30s and whatnot and older, we want wrestling to appeal to us, but WWE does a good job appealing to all ages. And so there's still young kids who watch this. And so they probably love Cody and see Cody as this superhero. So therefore, Cody needs to the way Cody's booked is for young kids to love him and believe in him. So just because you might not like seeing Cody overcome all the odds all the time, think about the kids at home who are watching and this is their Hulk Hogan or whoever, big baby face. So if he does win, I'm not going to be super shocked by it because of like what I just said. I think they're really trying to, prep Cody as this ultimate baby face that they haven't had for a long time. But I think at the end of the day, I think Cody loses here and it sets up a rematch for SummerSlam. And that'll be the third match where Cody wins. Now, granted, with the broken arm, kayfabe, does he take time off or he's going to show up on TV for Cass on weeks on end? Does he enter the Money in the Bank match? Does Brock cost him the Money in the Bank briefcase there? Very similar to what I said with Becky and Trish. And it sets up their match at SummerSlam. Who knows? That's the fallout is going to be interesting which direction they go based on the finish here. Right. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards Brock Lesnar. And plus, I've heard Brock has like a pretty good record or a very high winning record in Saudi Arabia too. So, maybe the powers that be put a request that we want to see Brock Lesnar win. So, I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah. Anything else, Brian, from this match we need to acknowledge, as Roman Reigns would say?
I do want to say that, this is important for Cody. He's been killing it. Live events, I see still staying after, signing stuff for fans and everything. This, I know this isn't the ideal. We all expected Cody to be champion, right? Yeah. After WrestleMania. And so, the fact that that's not happening, it's sad. It sucks, but man, we at least we got Cody Rhodes. He's being taken serious still. He's in a main event match with a main event guy like Brock Lesnar. Look, maybe Brock Lesnar is he's probably not going to be winning any championships anytime soon. So I'd like to look at this as, okay, Lesnar's the guy. He's going to be the guy now that is going to be attacking or going after the up and coming, the next faces of the company. Right. And so I feel like this is, look, Roman had to do it. Right. He had to go through the beast in order to get to the top. And I would hope that they don't drag it out as long as they did with Roman.
What do you think? Or I was going to ask you real quick, the Triple H appearance on Raw this week, there's a lot of people speculating, what does that mean? Do you think it was just a simple one-off of Triple H just trying to confront him or comfort him, be like, hey man, you've wrestled with a torn pec. We know how tough you are. You don't need to go through this. It's broken. It's almost like they're setting up Cody to be like ultimate, badass. He can, even in pain, he'll still go out there and fight once again. So it's almost like they're retapping a real life situation last year. They're trying to rehash that again this year, kayfabe wise.
Yeah.
For Triple H, I think I'm sure you saw the speculation. People are wondering, what if it's a swerve? What if it's Triple H who's the one who sent Brock Lesnar out to go take out Cody Rhodes? Like Brock Lesnar, as you said, hasn't said what his motivation for fighting Cody Rhodes for this since post WrestleMania. What if we find out it's Triple H who set him up because Triple H can't wrestle anymore? So he sent Brock out to take out Cody, and it's going to set up a modern day version of Austin versus McMahon. It's Cody versus Triple H. But that's the thing. People were popping. It was like That was the first time Cody and Triple H been on screen in a long time, especially going back for Cody, Double or Nothing, 3 years ago? You took the sledgehammer, smashed the throne there, the symbolism of Triple H, sticking it to Triple H. So that's why everyone was so shocked to see the two of them on screen together. But we all know behind the scenes, they're cool with each other.
If they were to do something like that and be able to pull it off, right? Like a McMahon Austin-esque, like keeping Cody away from the championship, from being the guy as much as possible. Yeah. Sending just dog after him.
But that's the thing, like Triple H reveals that he's the one that hired Brock, and the motivation is, I saw what you did at that other company. You try to stick it to me and smash a throne. I know what the symbolism was behind that. How dare you do that? I'm gonna make your life a living hell since you've been back here. Who knows? It could be a simple one-off, just Triple H making an appearance and just trying to be there for Cody, or could this lead into something else where it leads into the ultimate adversity of Triple H back as a new form of the authority figure? Because we've seen him do the authority figure before with Daniel Bryan, but an updated version with Cody Rhodes as well. So we shall wait and see, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Looking forward to Night of Champions this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, wake up Saturday morning, have a little breakfast, tune in to Peacock, watch Night of Champions, and then to Sunday, yes, NXT Battleground's going to happen, AEW Double or Nothing. I don't know if I can watch all the stuff on Sunday live. I will be at Bottle Rock for day number 3, checking out the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I'll have to watch it at some point. We'll probably have to catch up Monday, but we plan on doing reviews for everything. So we'll figure out at some point. It is Memorial Day weekend, so it's going to be a busy weekend just with wrestling and Bottle Rock, music festivals, all that good stuff. But on that note, Brian, let's start wrapping things up. Let's go home. Where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters, you guys can find me at BrianTronic on Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. For everything else, at In The Kliq on social. Subscribe to us wherever we get your podcasts at. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch the videos. Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share the podcast. We appreciate all the love and support. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. Leave a review there as well. Email us inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line, because Huey said so.